Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Bev from RTFKT here. So this is more like a devlog video style. This is explaining the clone converter tool to more of the developer people, more of the people who understand Blender. If you're brand new, the other videos are more aimed for you. This is going to be a little more complicated. I might lose you if you're not somewhat average at understanding a little bit of Python, a little bit of Blender, but for those of you who do and you are more on the creator side and you are interested in this at least, stick around. I'm going to explain to you what I did for Clone Converter to make all this happen. Yeah, so this is a VRM. You already know what VRM is by now, probably. I made Hyperfy to show it. This is a not very optimized object, right? Anyway, you already know, get your files from here, right? You also know that what Blender plugins are and what Blender is most likely. So install these plugins. You know how to do it. Edit preferences, right? Edit preferences, install, and then we build a clone real quick. I'm building my clone, and we'll go clone tools. So this uses two tools that we made, and then the VRM add-on by oh my goodness, what was his name? I want to look it up just so I don't make a mistake. I don't want to give the wrong people wrong credit, right? So check this out. This plugin right here, this is what we used. VRM add-on for Blender. I work off this plugin because it's just such a great, perfect plugin that already works. Why not just include it? So this is the steps I follow to make this all happen. We're going to open up here with the clone tools. Go to my clone files. Load it up. Right, and this just quickly assembles the rig. So you don't have to do much thinking here. And then all I added was a pose that is a VRM pose for T-pose because I didn't have one before. You just apply the pose and now you're pretty much good to export with VRM. And then this tool, the clone converter tool, the reason why you're here and the reason for this kind of video devlog style is to explain what this tool does and how it kind of bridges the two already existing tools, clone tools, and this VRM plugin here. So this plugin, you can't really use it unless you know what you're doing, and you set up everything for this in a way, right? So because of that, Clone Tools and Clone Converter does that for you with CloneX files for this plugin, so you can export VRMs. Clone Tools will assemble the clone, build the clone, and then put it in T-pose, and then Clone Converter will do all the optimizations that you want it to do. So scene optimizations, this is a standard optimization. It just deletes everything in this scene that's a light or an empty, right? So if I hit this, it'll delete all lights. This will delete all the empties. This will delete all the cameras. This will delete all the empty collections. If you hit this, it does all of it at once. And then now you have a pretty clean scene, and you're done with scene optimization. There's nothing else to really do. Optimize mesh, this is something that majority of us really like because manual labor is reduced dramatically, right? So by optimize mesh, it adds a decimate modifier to all of the models inside the objects inside the scene that are visible. So every single one of these objects automatically have a decimate modifier with a ratio that you can adjust from here. And then the total vertices and triangles shown here. And then this estimated triangles after export, it's just the faces because that's what's displayed on top of platforms like Hyperfy, right? So this will give you a good estimate, roughly plus or minus 300 maybe, of what you should expect when you put it inside of Hyperfy. So that's nice to kind of project your future a little bit with this, right? And then you don't have to use this, which is basically the same thing, but you can just do it all from this UI panel. So this ratio, this is what lets you adjust your ratio. You should already know that too. You just manually go through all these and adjust things as you want. And then here you can also delete things if you don't need it. Like eye shine is almost never needed, so I delete that every single time, right? And that's pretty much it. That's your optimized mesh. It's just a decimate modifier, an easy way to delete, an easy way to modify the ratios without having to go into the modifiers of each object. Here, object load, click on this, decimate, right? And then adding each one too, goodness, right? So it just applies it to all objects in the scene at once and lets you modify everything from here and delete things you don't want at the same time. Next, texture optimization. This tool basically just deletes shaders. Okay, so shading tab, You all are pretty aware of this, most likely. If I zoom into here and I grab a random object, you can see there's a bunch of images attached. Let me just pull this out and pull this out. Hey, go ahead and pull this out. And I guess pull this one out too. Jeez. Okay, so this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 images attached, and then 1 unattached image just hanging out here. So what this will do is, if you hit this, it will delete everything that is not connected to the base color. Okay, so the base color is this guy up here at the top. This is your primary color source of everything. Everything else kind of just supports that color in different ways to make it look better, right? You already know. Okay, so this is just a quick way to lighten up the file size dramatically by just removing everything that's not base color. You sacrifice a little bit of the look, of the quality, but you get really small file size for big world event type of things. The problem here is for some clones and for some avatars, whoever is using this platform for whatever you're using it for, emissive sometimes is needed. If I hit do all, it will delete the emissive. And these are emissive lines on my head, not part of the model of the base color, right? So that's why I have these set up manually underneath it as well. So if you know you have an emissive, just hit roughness, metallic, normals, unused, and leave this, or don't do any of them and just leave them all if you really want to. But you're trading off file size for a little bit of extra quality, right? And then of course you can go back at any time. None of these are crucial for you to do in any order. So I kind of see the chin looks a little wonky to me. So I'm gonna give it some chin back. 13K is fine. 16K is great anyway in Hyper 5. So give it some chin back, look a little bit better. Awesome. And we'll leave my emissive map plugged in. Cool. This does it to every single object as well. Okay, these are all like all-in-ones. So every single object loses roughness, metallic, normals, unused, or all at the same time. So every single object will still have their emissive, but most objects don't have an emissive anyway. So by leaving it, it's not really a huge deal. If you really, really care, you would go in shading and you would go and check and you would say, hey, what the heck? My jacket uses an emissive. Delete that guy and set that black. Okay. Disable one more image. You can do that. You can do that if you really want to. If you're going for maximum efficiency. Otherwise, it's not a huge deal because you still removed a ton of information by just hitting these other 4 buttons, right, to reduce some of it. Or you could completely ignore this entire section completely. Don't even think about it. Ignore this section and just move to the next section because it still might be a good file size. Because what this one does is it's a 1 button. There's nothing to do. You hit the button and you wait. And what it's doing is it's going through and it's downloading every single image in every single image texture node connected to all your visible objects. And it's saving them and changing it to a JPEG. It's converting it to a JPEG in 1024. So it's a 1K JPEG that's being saved, right? So there's no compression. It's just JPEG conversion and 1024. And there's a little bit of like a quality compression for the JPEG, but there's no like KTX compression or anything. I have to still add that. And there also is no Atlas imaging. So that's something that's stuff to add too. So right now we are just, creating a lot of images. But it's better than what we had before until I make an update that does Atlas images. And what's it called? What did I just say? Atlas images and the other thing. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so then this here, it also populates everything, some details for you to see. These are your object names. These are your materials. And these are the image textures attached to the base color node. This will also let you know if you need to delete things manually that you don't need. For example, I have mouth bag, and I have DNA angel and DNA head human. So if I click on the head, I could be like, hey, what's up? What's going on there? What's going on with my slots, right? Because I have DNA angel, and I also have DNA head human and mouth bag. And let's say I plan to never use this in VR and open my mouth. I could delete mouth bag. I could also delete head human, I think. And then now I got rid of 2 more files. And then if you really want to, hit the button again. And then it'll try to optimize again, and it'll also remove those 2 from this list. But for the most part, it'll stay pretty much the same because there's nothing more it can do, right? And that's it. So now it's super optimized, and now you can export. For this example, I'm going to export it to FBX, and I'll just save this. I'm just clicking here so it changes the extension to FBX. gonna save it. I'm gonna go in here. I think I put it in here. And clone. Is it done? Oh, there it is. So you can see I'm already at 7 megabytes. So it's okay. It's not terrible. I could probably get it smaller if I dropped the emissive, but I didn't. What else this thing does is inside of this step, there's a little couple secret things. If it also checks the principle of BSDF. It checks here. I'll show you. I'll just give you a live example. So if I set something like, let's say these eyebrows. If I set this guy right here, this base color. Actually, I'm going to delete these. This will be a good example. Because you technically don't need the eyebrows. I can delete this, save on the image texture. But you see how it's white? And it's like, oh man, my eyebrows are supposed to be black. By default, if a principled BSDF or an emissive is there, but there's no image texture plugged in, it will automatically make it black when you hit optimize images. Just to clean that up. Little secret feature there. Right? Because sometimes, yeah, you get an object and it just doesn't have anything there and it looks weird because it's white or purple or pink and just force it to be black. Right? And then it should, majority of the time, blend in to what you're trying to do anyway. And because of that, I did that there, I could probably do this one too if I really wanted to. Delete this, hit here, optimize again, and then boom. Okay, and then now I could export as FBX again. If I hit this, export as FBX, and I open up this clone files folder again, and then go back here, then wait, is it done? Yeah, it's done. And here's my, so here I'm smaller now. I have another 1 megabyte cutoff. So it's still good. It's better. 6 megabytes. We can go lighter. You can go a lot lighter actually. Depending on this, how many triangles you bring this down to. But okay, so from here we have export, and what I did was I also have it set up where you basically don't need to touch this thing. Yeah, you don't need to touch their VRM plugin because all you would do anyway is file export VRM, and it opens up the bone assignment, and you hit load, and then we just load the bone assignment that I included, and we all have the same rig. So it loads the bone assignment, and then you hit file export VRM again, and then now it's gonna do the loading of the bone assignment, which is weird, but that's how it works. And then it shows up here, and I have one saved in this section. I'm just gonna copy this directory real quick. Let that load, and then check this out inside here. And so it came out to 1.3. So it compressed it all the way down to 1.3. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Yeah. 1.3 megabytes, and then if I load it into here, oh, hey buddy, here we can actually do a test. Oh my gosh, hurry up, it's hurting. Equip. Okay, yeah, so you can see it worked. But besides that, it does not do mesh cutting. So if you're trying to get rid of the clipping, you still have to manually go in and unclip. So the way I've been doing it is, clone tools, switch to pose, go to A, which is default, work on the thing, go back to object, work on it, cut things out. When I'm done cutting, switch back to pose mode, go back to VRM. If it does this, click on the rig, click on VRM again, clone converter, and then file export again, and then you're good. So the mesh cutting, you still have to do manual, but everything else, it completely eliminates so many of the steps you don't have to do just by clicking a few buttons. So it's a pretty good tool to help you bridge from clone tools, which is building your files, to optimizing everything for conversion, and then using the VRM plugin, which just adds file VRM, file export VRM to Blender, and we load the bone map, which loads this. And then you're good to go. It's that easy. It's pretty small, simple plugin, and then you're done. Your VRM's good to go. So the hardest part is probably having to know enough about Blender to delete the objects underneath other objects, right? So you don't have that clipping. But if you have any experience in Blender, then you can pretty easily just, get in there, spend the 10 minutes, delete all the vertices underneath your clothes, and your VRM will work even better. And now you have even more triangles that you could use, so you could bump up some numbers or just work with a really small file size. Yeah, and that's it. And then you can get a VRM mix board that's even smaller, right? Like, because I've done exports that are around 500, which is half a megabyte to a megabyte easily. It's really not that hard. As long as your meshes are super clean and all your images are 1K, then you can hit that 500 to a megabyte. Kind of easy. Otherwise, anything under 4 is considered a perfect score, and it's super light. That's great for these big platform world building stuff where we're gonna have 30, 40 people. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed. It's a pretty cool tool. Give me some feedback, devs. All right, guys.